Hey guys, it's Brooke. Welcome back to Bettering Brooke. So today, I think I'm going to talk about my history with PCOS and infertility, which obviously involves a lot of lady stuff. So if you're not comfortable with that topic, then maybe click away. I'm pretty open about things, maybe a little too much sometimes with people. So I just think that there really shouldn't be a taboo about periods and about pregnancy, and I don't know, it's our bodies. Like, I don't understand why it's such a taboo thing. Um, so, brief history. Well, maybe not so brief. I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome or ovarian syndrome or polycystic ovary disease. There's like a million names, like with everything else. So basically, your ovaries get cysts on them and they can burst. They say the pain is the closest thing to actual childbirth, which I tend to believe because it's bad. I haven't had one rupture in a long time, but I remember when I used to have them rupture like in college or in like my junior, senior years of high school. I had to lay in like the fetal position so that I could like actually function. But it also causes a lot of hormonal issues, or it might be caused by hormonal issues. There's not like a lot of knowledge about it. They're not really sure what causes it, but it does make it harder usually to get pregnant, because it doesn't help with your menstrual cycle. A lot of people with PCOS don't have a period, or they have very irregular periods, and obviously you need one if you want a baby. So and then it also causes like dark skin underneath your arms, like in your armpits, or like I had the back of my neck had like this weird velvety texture for a while. It's gone now, but I used to have it pretty bad. They can cause, or it can cause, hair growth in women in places that you shouldn't normally have hair, like your face. You get facial hair, or like a hairy chest or a hairy back, or yeah. I don't have that, luckily. I'm glad I didn't get that symptom, but a lot of women do, and it's really hard for them to deal with. It can cause weight gain, and it makes it a lot harder for you to lose weight. And a lot of people that have PCOS also have insulin resistance, which makes it way harder because you can't process carbs like a normal person can, and then you gain weight from that on top of your hormones being imbalanced. I mean, insulin is a hormone, so so anyway, I was diagnosed when I was, I believe, 16. I started my first menstrual cycle when I was 11, but then they were really erratic after that, and then we figured something was wrong by the time I was 15, 16 and wasn't having a regular one. So I was diagnosed. I don't remember having very many, like, at all through my younger life. I remember I had a couple when I was in college because I was put on birth control to try and regulate it, but it didn't really work. So then when I was 22, I think, is when I started keto or started low carb or something. I don't know. But anyway, I was on keto for 2.5 years. And when I was about 7 or 8 months into keto, I ended up getting my period back after not having one for exactly 5 years. Like July of 1 year, I had my last one, and then I got another one back 5 years later in July. So, yeah, then after that, we weren't actively trying to conceive. It's about to get a little bit deep, so we weren't actively trying to conceive, but we weren't preventing it, and we're kind of hoping for it. And it just, nothing was happening. So then after I did get my cycle back on track, I didn't really think that I could still, for some reason, just for so long of hoping for it, or like just kind of thinking maybe it could happen, and nothing happened. I just didn't think it was going to happen for me. I thought I was going to be infertile. And then in the fall of 2017, I apparently got pregnant around either after, like between Halloween and mid-November, or somewhere around Thanksgiving. And New Year's Eve, I was at work, and I worked in a factory at the time, and I had been on what I thought was my period for 16 days. And it got worse. Like, I almost passed out. I was going through way too many products for it to be normal. So I ended up having to leave work early, and come to find out, I was miscarrying. It was really rough because I didn't know I could get pregnant. And then all of a sudden, here I am losing this baby before I even knew that it was there. So the whole process ended up lasting 21 days, and it was miserable. I was in a lot of pain the last week of it. The beginning of it, I didn't have any pain really, but I just thought it was a period. Towards the end, it got really painful. And the morning after I had to leave work early, I went into the ER because I took a pregnancy test at home and it came back positive. And that was a really difficult moment, 17 days into bleeding. And I took a test, and at first I was super just that excitement of seeing a positive after so long of never seeing one. But then it hit me at the same moment that this baby's gone already. To see a positive and then to already know it's gone was a really, really difficult moment for me. So in the ER, they had me do a pregnancy test, and then they wanted to do the blood test too, and they both came back positive. And I already told them that's what was going on, but they have to test anyway. So then they wanted to do an ultrasound, and they said that I was probably about 7 weeks from the amount of hormone that I still had, the HCG or whatever it is. And they were worried, they thought I might have had an ectopic pregnancy, which is when it grows somewhere else it's not supposed to, in your fallopian tube. But the spot that they found that they were panicking about was my left ovary had a bump, they said, that was about the size of a quarter. Turns out it was just an ovarian cyst. So I know that I have that on my left ovary now, and I'm just kind of dreading the day that it decides to burst. But so they didn't really have to do anything for treatment for me because I had already passed it at that stage. So I just had to follow up with a gynecologist and make sure they didn't have to go in and remove anything, because if you have a miscarriage and something doesn't come out fully, you can get septic from that and it can kill you. So it's really important that you pay attention to what's going on with your body and your cycles. The whole process, it was 21 days of bleeding, and it was miserable. So the stage that we're at right now is we are thinking about babies again, but we have some concerns financially and just with kind of our lifestyle, where we're at in life right now. And it is a really difficult subject. It's super depressing to have people come up to you all the time, and they mean well, I think, but when the first thing somebody wants to know about you at work is, oh, do you have kids? I always freeze for a second, and I'm like, oh gosh, this conversation is not going to be enjoyable. And when I tell them no, they always want to know why. And then when I tell them that we're just not there yet, because I don't want to go into a full explanation of my miscarriage and my body not working how it's supposed to for so long, they want to remind me that my biological clock is ticking. And that is the most infuriating thing to hear from somebody when they don't know you, they don't know your situation. And what if I just didn't want kids? Like, that's not somebody else's decision to make. So it's very frustrating. And as a woman, like, that's what people expect from you. They expect you to want kids and to have them at a young age when, like, our generation, I am 27. Our generation can't really afford to have kids like prior generations or previous generations. Like, things are changing and not for the better, in my opinion. So, yeah, I guess that's a brief history. Sorry that this was really rambly and I say a lot. um, if you have PCOS or any of the kind of things that I've been talking about, feel free to reach out to me and let me know your story. Maybe we can be there for each other in times of need like that. And any of you that have also lost a child, I just want to tell you that I'm extremely sorry. And I know that it's not a good time. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm here.